So, friends, welcome to today's podcast episode. Firstly, can you believe that we are in like the middle of a new season? For all the Americans, I'm like, I cannot believe we're in fall. I mean, I love winter. For those, please, I got jelly. For those of you that know, I love winter, so I'm obviously very excited for it to get super cold, to go skiing, to do all the things. But for those of you that also know, I've been in my gardening era. And so I'm wanting to plant all these flowers, but I can't because they're going to die because winter's coming. So I'm having to like create this really long list of all these seeds I'm going to buy come spring to then go to the next level in my garden. So anyway, lots of things happening. For those of you that have been clued in, do follow my Instagram stories and all that jazz. You would have seen that we had our LA event. We had two events actually. One was one was much smaller. It was like a VIP day, very, very intimate. Lots of one-on-one time with the ladies, which was amazing. And then the other one was our day in LA 1 day event, and they both were so much fun, so amazing, so fresh, so new. It was fantastic. I'm going to be sharing with you guys some behind the scenes videos and a lot of photos and all that jazz because we've got some really beautiful content. So if you're on my emails, you guys will get an email of kind of like the behind the scenes look at everything. And I'm going to share lots and lots of pictures of everything. And then if you're in the behind the scenes bubble, we're going to drop a bunch of videos in, including really funny videos of me having like full blown spazzes and just random shit. So if you want to see me in full blown action, like my team got to see for the first time, then make sure that you are signed up and clued into the behind the scenes bubble. So, on this note of having the event this weekend, something that was kind of commonly coming up, especially for the ladies that came to the business day, was around being seen. And so, in today's episode, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about being seen and in kind of all different areas of life, because it's a really common thing that comes up for my clients. Like, I would say maybe 75 to 80% of the women that I work with and the men that I work with have this fear of being seen. So I'm going to talk about that with you guys today. I thought it was really good timing as well because we've obviously just had this event and it requires you to be seen, to actually come to one of these events and actually share vulnerabilities and actually be seen in that you are being seen in wanting more in your life. And that's really important because I think for a lot of us, and I used to think this as well, we think that we can only invest in ourselves or we only should invest in ourselves when we are at like the rock bottom and we deeply need help and whatnot. But actually, that's the wrong way to go about it, because when you wait to invest in getting help in whatever capacity, whether it's getting help from like the darkest thoughts in your mind or whether it's just getting help in scaling your business, like two completely different kind of vibes. When you wait until you actually are in that place of desperately needing help, it then actually requires so much work to kind of get out of the dark hole. Is it impossible? Absolutely not. Does it mean that you shouldn't go and invest in yourself? No, no, no. What I'm saying is that when you feel those desires of I want more, that's an inkling of go and get the help, the mentorship, the wisdom, the teaching, whatever you need so that you can have more instead of waiting to the point where you are miserable and unhappy. And then you have to just get yourself back to baseline again before you even get to that state of like wanting more. There's plenty of you that listen to these podcasts that aren't even in the phase of I want more in my life. They're like, I just want to be happy in my life. There are plenty of you that also are happy in your life. You're content, but you want more. All of us, everybody in those two examples that I've just given you, are both a fit for being seen, for showing up, for actually deciding to go to these events or hire the coaches or read the book or whatever it is to do the thing where it's like, I want to discover more for myself. And for some of you, that self-discovery isn't even, coming to an event or joining Queen Alchemy or whatever it is, one of my programs. The self-discovery could actually be doing a trip, doing a solo trip. You don't need to do the solo trip when you're 18 years old, and finished school. That's great if you get to do that. Amazing. But you can also do that self-discovery solo trip when you're 45 and in a relationship. It's really about like redefining our lives for ourselves rather than looking at everybody else around us and deciding that you have to do the same thing that they do and very much have that like cookie cutter approach. I am not about a cookie cutter approach. And in fact, something that I kept saying to everybody this weekend at the 1 day event where it was like not business, everyone was there, it was more personal, was like context is everything, and take what I say with a grain of salt. Like you have to make it into your own situation, into your own like example. We did a lot of practical things, which was really amazing because the practical is the really important component of like the embodiment and the integration. So you have that healing component, and then you want to actually make sure that you're embodying and integrating. And so that embodiment and integration, it's not just do what Monica says the way that she does it. It's, take what she says, pull in your own context, your own environment, your own considerations, and then make it, set it out in a way that actually works for you. That's how it needs to be done. And actually, on that note, if you haven't gotten the replay for the free trauma healing, the free like understanding your trauma masterclass, sorry, we'll put the link below. You can just fill your email in, like your details, and then we will send you the replay link. It is only going to be available until the end of November, the replay. So you definitely want to get on that ASAP. And I actually talk about the really important steps of healing and like my way of healing. And my way of healing is one that actually creates sustainable, long-lasting results. There's no fucking point. I got an email. I didn't get an email this morning. Olivia got an email this morning, and she sent it to me to be like, hey, what are your thoughts? And in this email, essentially, this woman was sharing that she has been doing she's been, in this program for like months and months. We're talking like over 8 months, right? Of doing this program around like trauma healing and like somatics and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I haven't felt a shift. It doesn't like, it's not clicking for me. And so she's emailing me to be like, can I work with you? And I'm like, fuck yes. But what I want to say about this is I notice this happens in kind of the coaching space where, everybody is so focused on streamlining and scaling and get off one-on-ones and like free up more time. Like, isn't it great that you can just lie by the beach and make millions? And like vibes. Yes, I want that for myself one day. But I personally I just can't ethically, like, at least right now within my business is at, be like, I can give that, like I can get people the results with not having that level of somewhat intimacy, but personalization, right? And obviously there are many of my programs that are pre-recorded evergreen, but it's a different kind of program, right? Queen Alchemy, which is my like trauma healing program, so that you can then feel safe to be in that embodiment of your feminine energy, has so much one-on-one. It's like fully live, 7 weeks. I'm there for you the whole time. You can do a one-on-one with me, like blah, 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 because when it comes to that deep healing, you do need that set, like you do need some kind of customization. And for some people that they need a lot more than others, depending on the situation. But what I was saying before is that you need that practical, and you need someone to really like kind of lay out for you or show you how to lay it out for yourself, of creating the embodiment piece in a way that works for your life. So when I say your life, the way that I would embody something is different to the way that you would embody something if you're a mom, because you have other humans to consider. You have less time in your day to just do whatever the hell that you want to do. I'm not yet a mother, besides the fact that I have 4 dogs. So I don't have those same considerations to take into account when I'm thinking, okay, how can I embody this and integrate this? So some really important pieces. But anyway, what I'm actually sorry, that kind of went on a bit of a tangent, but I feel like very important nonetheless. Because it goes for everything that I also just talk about in my podcast. You have to make it your own. Otherwise, it's not even going to click for you. And I just, these days, I just feel like so much of the content that gets put out there, whether it's through courses, whether it's through, Instagram accounts, whatever it is, it's so general. And that's fine. But is the person telling you, hey, by the way, this is super fucking general. You need to take this example and make it your own. If they do, amazing. That's why I always fucking say that to you guys. But if they don't, here is your reminder to take what they say, and then you have to make it your own. And to also get really clear on, depending what you need help with, do you need a level of intimacy, a level of bespokeness to get the results that you are wanting to get? Like, think about what the result that you're wanting to get in your life. Think about, okay, I want to either be happy in my life, for those of you that are in that kind of space, or for those of you that are like, I'm happy, but I just want more in my life. Think about what it is that you want, that result that you want. Do you feel like you need that kind of customization, one-on-one accountability, that live, as in like you're live in a program or you're live with somebody, not pre-recorded? Do you need that in order to get that result? Some of you will say no, great. Some of you will say, yeah, I need someone to hold me accountable. Then that's really important, because if you know that, you can then express that when you are looking at your options to then get to that level that you're wanting to get at, right? Anyway, super random tangent, but today's episode, we're talking about the fear of being seen. All this relates. And so let me take a sip of my tea. Hold on. Ladies, I'm so excited to be announcing that my 2024 immersion is officially open for enrollment. Yay! I'm so excited about this. So, well, I don't know about enrollment, but you can like get your ticket, whatever, do the things. There are 2 locations, New York City or Paris. You can come to both, you can come to one. The events are the same. It's just simply a choose your location kind of situation. So tickets are available right now, and you get $500 off if you get it during this current sale period, like open cart period. Then the cart will close and the tickets will go back up to their normal price for any that are left, but we could sell out during this time. So please make sure that you grab this while you can. We also have an extended payment plan option that will not be available closer to the event time. I always have a few of you closer to the event time that ask if you can get a ticket and get an extended payment plan. The answer is always no. I'm sorry, but all payments have to be completed before the event time. So what that means is that if you need a kind of longer payment plan of 6 months, then you need to book your ticket now and not wait, because the closer that we get, the smaller the payments plan, I can't speak, the smaller the payment plans get. If we even have any tickets available. So Paris and New York 2024 immersions, I am so excited for my 3-day ones to be coming to you guys in 2 spots next year. Like, how good is next year going to be? Wedding, immersion, book, God knows what else. I cannot wait. I will see you there. Any questions, you know where to find me. So what's really interesting about the fear of being seen is that it will obviously show up in kind of every area of your life, right? So if you have a fear of being seen in your vulnerability, that's going to obviously affect the way that you're able to open your heart and show up with dating and with your relationship. That's probably also going to affect your ability to be vulnerable with yourself in your business or in your career. So here's the first thing. When you have a desire to be seen by other people, you can still have a fear of being seen. So the desire to be seen, but also being afraid of being seen, can coexist at the same time. Much like you can desire having a lot of money, but be afraid of having a lot of money at the same time, right? It's like one is very unconscious, one is more so conscious. So you have this conscious desire to, which isn't wrong, to have a lot of money, but unconsciously you're afraid of having a lot of money, which is why it's so important to work with like all systems of the body at once. Because it's all well and good for you to be like, no, I do want a lot of money. I do want a lot of money. I do want a lot of money. And great. So you're working with the conscious mind, but then why can't you attract it? Why can't you hold it? It's because the unconscious or the subconscious part of your brain is repelling money and not feeling safe to actually have the money. So much like with being seen. So you could have an intense desire for people to see you. And so as a result, that's showing up in you being overly reactive, of you kind of projecting, of you having tantrums because you just want the other person to fucking see you. So if someone says, let's say you're in, you're dating a guy or you're in a relationship and they basically just don't validate your feelings, they kind of make you feel a little bit crazy. Well, no woman likes when a man invalidates her feelings or makes her feel crazy, because what's really important, just for the men listening to this or for the women to share with their men, is that us as women, what we are wanting and what will help us to actually be able to get over the kind of emotional moment that we're in is for you to actually just validate what we're experiencing. We don't need fixing. We kind of see life through the lens of emotions. Men don't see life through the lens of emotions. When they're having some kind of emotional experience, they're like, okay, how can I fix this situation? Women, when we are having an emotional situation, aren't like in our brains thinking, how can I fix the situation? We're actually just trying to process and feel what we are feeling, right? That's why we go and have the tantrum, why we bawl our eyes out, blah, blah, blah. Whereas when men start to cry, they're like, this is stupid. Like, why am I doing this? And because they go into logic and fixing. So nonetheless, so when we are being emotional towards the guy that we're dating or our partner, and we're just really craving to be seen by him, when that then doesn't happen, it further exacerbates our feeling of nobody sees me, right? Now, you at the very same time may also be really afraid of genuinely being seen in your vulnerability, for example. And so as a result, you're communicating and expressing your emotions in a way that is preventing you from being seen, right? It's preventing you from your experience actually being validated, acknowledged, and seen, because you're not doing it in a way that's actually clicking for the other person. Now, on top of this, if you are feeling like others don't see you, I can almost guarantee that you don't see yourself. If you have a fear of other people seeing you in your uniqueness, in your truth, in your full expression, in your success, whatever it is, you also probably don't let yourself or have a fear of seeing yourself in that kind of capacity as well. So when I'm saying like you are afraid or you're not seeing yourself, what I mean by this is that often you're not validating your experience. You're not validating your desires, your wants, your needs. You're kind of gaslighting them. This can sometimes be coupled with like the self-shame spiral where you shame yourself for a desire that you're wanting, for a need that you're wanting. You tell yourself that you shouldn't need it, that you shouldn't want it, blah, blah, blah. And so you kind of shame yourself for your own needs and desires. So, of course, you're then not seeing what you want. You're not seeing yourself and your own experience. If you don't know how to see yourself, it becomes very hard to then actually express yourself to other people in a way that supports them seeing you. So if you are having a little bit of an emotional day, but you really can see yourself, you're way more likely to be able to actually know what you truly at the core need. When you are able to know what you truly at the core need, it becomes 10 times easier to then express that with clear communication, not emotional communication, clear communication to the other person, especially if that's a man. And you communicate it in a way that supports you and enables you to actually be seen by him versus you communicating it in a way where you're kind of just in your emotions, having a little bit of tantrum, which by the way is totally fine. You're having a bit of a tantrum and then he just kind of blows it off or is like, okay, suck it up, or like, oh, sorry, babe, like blah, 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 but not actually giving you what it is that you need. When you know for yourself what you need, it becomes easier to be in situations knowing the intention of what it is that you want to get out of the situation and then crafting your communication, your behavior, your execution to allow you to get what it is that you need. So, I'm not saying through a manipulative tactic by any means. I'm saying through like intense conscious awareness of your own needs, you then craft how you show up to ensure that the other person can then respond in a supportive and helpful way so that you then get what it is that you need. Because we all know when we just project our emotions onto other people, it rarely ever ends with us really feeling the way that we actually wanted to feel versus if you craft the way that you show up very carefully and not in the way where you then have to change who you are. That's like don't like change what I'm saying. Not in the way that you have to like manipulate yourself or change the way that you are, but just in the way where you are showing up in a way that one, you're proud of, two, you're actually seeing your needs, and three, you're doing it in a way that will facilitate change and a result. The caveat to this of just this specific example that I'm giving you guys is it's not like what I'm saying is not that you can never have an emotional tantrum in front of your partner, because trust me, that does not happen. That does not happen over here. You're human, you're a woman, you are emotional. It's all beautiful things. Part of being a human is being fucking authentic. And so if you are being inauthentic by like always changing the way that you want to express something, then of course that's not going to make you feel seen by yourself either. Part of also just seeing yourself is being able to discern and distinguish when you need to actually be really in your emotions and be really emotional in your expression, and then also times when you don't need to be really emotional and really in your emotions, in your expression. That kind of discernment comes when you like for yourself comes when you really deeply are able to see yourself. Now, when you see yourself, you then as a result have kind of less of a need for other people to see you. This is very much coupled in with self-validation. So a lot of us feel like we need and we want, and it's not wrong, it's really nice to have validation, but a lot of us want a lot of validation from other people. Been there, done that. It is one of the most freeing things when you don't need validation from anybody else. And when they give you the validation, it's like, sweet, cherry on fucking top. But you don't feel like your sanity is dependent on how they think about you or what they say about you. So, obviously, the fear component of being afraid of being seen can often come from when we were younger. If we felt like when we were seen, when we were loud, when we were expressive, when we asked for our needs in some kind of way, we were shamed, we were judged, we were belittled, we were, controlled. There was some kind of negative impact on being seen when we were younger. So, for example, if you had parents that were very emotionally dysregulated, you probably felt like your emotions had no place in the mix because they couldn't regulate their own emotions, let alone be able to regulate yours. So, when you would come in with your emotions or your kind of expression, it would just piss them off, tip them over the edge. It would end up with you then feeling really unsafe. So, you learned, don't be seen. It's better to be quiet. It's better to hide. Don't express yourself. And so, of course, then as an adult, you are so afraid where if you were to express yourself, you'd be rejected, you'd be belittled, you'd be, that person would be very condescending towards you, you'd be controlled, you'd be manipulated, you'd be shamed, like insert negative thing. Now, the flow on effect from that is obviously like you don't feel as confident showing up as work. You don't feel confident speaking up in meetings. You don't feel confident drawing boundaries. You don't even feel like you fucking can draw a boundary. You probably get like a frog in your throat or your throat closes when you even go to try and speak up for yourself. You are probably a little bit afraid of actually being just looked at in the street. Like you don't want to dress up too nice. You don't want to look too pretty because you don't want to be seen. Like your every ounce of your body and your nervous system just feels like I am safer and better things are going to happen and not bad things, like bad things are not going to happen when I just stay smaller and quieter. Of course, though, if you are wanting a beautiful big life, if you are wanting success in your business or in your career, if you are wanting, to be with your dream man, if you are wanting to call in money, if you're wanting to claim your manifestations, if you're wanting beautiful friendships, like all of these things, what do they all require? They all require being seen, all of them. So if you are wanting to be seen in your business, but at the very same time, you're not showing up, you're not allowing yourself to be magnetic, you're not allowing yourself to work on your own radiance, you're not allowing yourself to be in alignment, if you are not supporting your ability to be seen, no one's going to see you. No one's going to see your business. No one's going to feel like, oh, she's my person or this product is my brand. One of the most underrated things to heal, or I'll give you like 3 underrated things to heal in your business. 1, your nervous system. 2, your fear of being seen. 3, receivership and money. Because those 3 things, it's like without those, you will find business to be a lot harder than it needs to be. So if you are worried about people rejecting you, people judging you, people shaming you, people doing whatever to you, of course you're not going to feel safe to show up online. Of course you're not going to want to put your face places. Of course you are not going to want to succeed because naturally, the more success there is, the more you are being seen by your customers, by potential customers, by press, by your family, by anyone, right? People are going to know you more. Your family's going to see you. You're going to be brighter because of your success, because of the money that you're calling in and all that stuff. It doesn't mean that you aren't going to be bright and seen if you're not having a thriving career. No, being bright and being seen is the result of you being in alignment. So if your alignment is being a mom and having a veggie patch and baking all day, you're going to be fucking seen, right? You're going to be this beaming star as you walk into people's homes because you're doing what lights your soul on fire. A lot of people, they don't even allow themselves to do what lights their soul on fire, not because they don't want to, but because they're afraid of what's going to happen when they do. It's like people are afraid of going deep into intense love in relationships. They're afraid of that feeling. They're actually afraid of really healthy relationships because when you're in a healthy relationship, you're fucking seen. You're open. You're vulnerable. You are raw. Like it is all of you out on the table. And so what happens is for a lot of people, they will unconsciously, but like like purposely unconsciously, get themselves into situations where they can continue to not be seen because their nervous system feels better. It feels neutral. It feels more like, oh, this is familiar, which is what, our nervous system wants. It feels familiar when you're not seen. So when you haven't been seen your whole life and then you get into toxic relationships where you're manipulated, where you're made to feel like you're crazy, of course, you're getting into those situations. I know you don't want to, but you're getting into them not because that's just your reality and you have to live with it. No, you're getting into those toxic relationships because your nervous system is wired to feel like, oh, this is normal. This is familiar. That's why with any kind of trauma healing, like I was saying at the beginning, the embodiment and the integration is really important. And what I do a lot of in the embodiment and integration is the re-regulation of like regulating, whatever, regulating your nervous system, but we're like redoing it, right? Because it's been regulated once before and then it got dysregulated. And then in the dysregulation, it's like, oh, this is the new normal. So you think this is a regulated nervous system, but it's not. So we are re-regulating your nervous system to be what is actually regulated. And in that redoing of the nervous system regulation work, it allows you to anchor into your new reality, feeling safe, feeling normal, etc. So now for you, it feels completely normal and safe to be in a healthy relationship, for example, where you're not being manipulated, made to feel crazy, etc., like you were when you were younger. Um, so on all of this note, what's funny is just like the unworthiness cycle that I have talked about before on my Instagram, and that's in the free masterclass. Well, I broke it down in that. The unworthiness cycle is interesting, just like the kind of fear of being seen cycle. So you're afraid of being seen. And so what happens is because of your fear of being seen that you want to fix, the funny thing is the exact thing that you want to fix, the fear of being seen, is the exact thing that stops you from fixing it. The thing that you want to fix is the exact thing that stops you from fixing it. So you want to fix the fear of being seen. Amazing. But because you are afraid of being seen, that stops you from reaching out, from clicking pay, from going to the thing, from doing the thing, because by doing that, you have to be seen. So with any kind of up level, with anything that requires you to get out of your comfort zone, there is intense, sometimes really intense discomfort with it. And something that I'm seeing a lot these days, because kind of nervous system work's become a bit trendy, which is great. But a myth around nervous system regulation is only do what makes you feel safe. If you only do what makes you feel safe, you are going to be in the exact same place in 6 years' time. You deciding I want more in my life requires a level of discomfort to break through that edge to get you to the next level in your life and to get you into that capacity for healing. There is no healing, right? When you are staying small and just in your comfort zone, the healing happens right in like that millimeter outside your comfort zone because there's a level of discomfort that kind of cracks you open a little bit, which is a good thing. So for those of you that are thinking about coming to my New York City or my Paris immersion, you probably do feel really uncomfortable. You probably do feel a little bit scared as you buy your ticket. But that little bit of fear and discomfort is actually a really good thing. And the reason why it's a good thing is because you know that fear and discomfort is that sign, it's that signal that your body is giving you of this is going to give you a fucking breakthrough. Of course, if you are coming and you don't have any fear or discomfort, like amazing. You probably have worked with me before. You know what to expect. You know me. Maybe you've met me before. Maybe you've come to an event before. So of course it doesn't feel fully out of your comfort zone, right? Because you've somewhat done it before or you've worked with me before. But for those of you that have maybe never worked with me before or never worked with me in kind of like a one-on-one intimate capacity, it's going to feel a little bit scary because there's many factors involved. You don't know anybody going, probably. You haven't met me before. You don't really know what to expect. You've seen the videos and everything, but you don't really know what to expect. You're probably scared of what's going to come up. It's obviously a big investment. Maybe you have to travel too. There's a lot of factors in there that make you feel afraid. And all of those factors that make you feel a little bit afraid, I'm telling you, are going to be the biggest catalysts for your change. So, for example, let's say that you are flying to New York for the weekend to come to the 3 days. You're going to stay till Tuesday to have 2 decompression days. I'm telling you right now that those 5 days, you are never going to fucking forget, because those 5 days, not only do you just have the 3 days of the healing work, but you have 2 days to integrate, to sink into that new version of you. And the fact that you're traveling alone and you're going to be staying alone and you don't know anyone going is actually going to be the thing that forces you out of your comfort zone, allows you to meet new friends, allows you to fully enjoy the experience, because you're not worried about your best friend being like, what the fuck are you doing over there? Like, what sound are you making? It's kind of nice when you go to these things not knowing anybody, because you don't fucking know anyone. So you're not worried about anybody rejecting you because you haven't even made friends with anybody in the room yet, right? And the good thing is, all the friends that you make in the room, and trust me, you are going to make some fucking soulmate sisters. All the friends that you make in the room are acting just as crazy and being just as primal as you are. And in fact, you'd be the odd one out if you weren't. So you actually are in the environment where that level of intense expression and being seen is so fucking safe and celebrated. So think about it like this. Always, 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 when you are wanting to heal that fear of being seen, there is going to be the fear of being seen that comes up to try and stop you from doing the thing that is actually going to allow you to receive and call in more of your manifestations, because it requires you to be seen, and it requires you to see what it is that you want and to claim what it is that you want in your manifestations. And of course, if you're afraid of holding the manifestation because you're afraid of somebody else judging you when they see that you have this, that's going to block your manifestation. So that fear of being seen is going to allow you to manifest more, have more money. The two, like the example I just gave, is kind of interlinked. Have more success, call in the kind of man that you want to call in, or improve the relationship that you're in, because it's going to allow you to be seen at a different level. Like the releasing the fear of being seen and allowing yourself to see yourself, and then therefore others can see you, is something that I think is one of the most underrated fears to heal. It's one of the most underrated things to heal. I always talk about the daddy wound, the mother wound, the fear of rejection, the fear, like whatever. I talk about everything else, and I haven't done an episode on the fear of being seen, which is so funny. And that's what dropped in today and what I need to talk to you guys about, because it is an underrated, catapulting thing that you can clear. Now, the first step to healing the fear of being seen, I'm going to walk you guys through the steps. The first step to healing the fear of being seen is obviously breaking out of your comfort zone, like I was just expressing, and doing the thing that you are going to be seen in. And that's kind of scary. So, for example, for a lot of you, it's booking that ticket and just doing the damn thing, coming to my immersion. Get yourself out of that gray space. I'm sending a really good email out about this, and maybe it's already gone out, but I kind of drew you guys a diagram. Imagine there's a white box, which is your decision, right? You've already made the decision of whether you want to go or not, especially if you have watched a lot of my content and you followed me for a while. You already know whether you want to go to the immersion or not. Then you have all this gray space before you get to, on like the other end, is the black box. Okay. Now that gray box, that long gray box, that long gray space is indecisiveness. But it's not, it seems like indecisiveness the way that you feel it, but it's not actually indecisiveness, because you've already made the decision. It's you overthinking, it's you being overly logical, it's you actually trying to give yourself reasons to keep you safe of why you shouldn't do it. Because in that gray area, it could be fucking huge or it could be tiny. It could be non-existent for you. That is dependent on you. For a lot of you guys, you have actually a big gray area. And in that gray area, it's the overthinking, it's you being logical, it's you telling yourself why you shouldn't do it. And a lot of people will confuse that with, my intuition is going back and forth. No, it's actually not your intuition, because your intuition gave you the decision at the beginning. That white box that I said to you with the decision, that's your intuition. That was that heart yes or no. That was that gut feeling. That's your intuition. Intuition is quick and easy. It's not dragging shit out. That gray box is your head getting in. It's your ego. It's fear of getting outside of your comfort zone. Now, what happens is the more that you sit in that gray space, the more that you give airtime to your head, to overthinking, to analyzing, to being overly logical, what happens is you actually make the ability to click pay so much harder for yourself. You've added so much energy, you've added so much stress, you've added so much nervousness to it because you keep thinking about it, versus you just jumping from decision to action, to just doing the thing, clicking pay. So in that black box on the other end is just clicking pay. Some people won't get to it because they sit in the fucking gray area. But in the gray area, when you sit in that, do you know what there also is? There's beating yourself up. There's self frustration of why can't I make a fucking decision? But here's the thing, ladies, or men, you've already made the decision. It's the action. And quote unquote, why you can't make the action, in inverted commas, is because it's fucking scary. You can make the action. You just need to do it without so much thinking. So let me give you an example. When I, for example, made this massive investment in my book, which I've kind of spoken about in some recent episodes, it was, what does my intuition feel? Okay. Has it been like diligent, kind of like, is this a smart decision? Yes, was already told that. Felt into it. I was like, it's a yes. So we're just fucking doing it. I didn't give myself any airtime. I didn't ask like, okay, well, when are we doing X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. It was like, it feels right. I've got all the details. She's given me the whole breakdown of what's included, what to expect, blah, blah, blah. Pay, like, where's the invoice? And then it was like, can she hurry up and send the invoice? Because like, I wonder if I can do this thing, because I didn't want my gray space to get any fucking airtime. I paid the thing. I did the thing. Next, painful. Thank you very much. Moving on. Now, after you get to the black box, then you can go logical. Then you can figure out the details. So after that black box, then it was, okay, what day do I want to have the meeting? Am I going to fly to New York, or is she going to fly down here? Like, then it was the logistical component. So if you're thinking about coming to the immersion, you've already made the decision. You just click pay, you take the action. Then you go into what hotel do I want to stay in? What flight do I want to catch? Like, do I want to go? You can figure all of those things out after you get to the black area. Just do yourself the favor and get there ASAP, because it is living hell to be in that gray area. We all know. So sorry, going back to the steps of clearing the fear of being seen. So number one is taking that decision and going from white to black. Boom, done. No one likes a gray area. The next thing is actually going into what really is the root issue that's showing as the expression of fear of being seen, right? So the root issue could be fear of rejection. It could be emotional dysregulation. It could be fear of, abandonment. It could be fear of being abused. It could be you not feeling safe to hear yourself, to listen to yourself. It could be a lack of self-trust. It could be, all this bottled up resentment that you don't want to feel. So it's just better to avoid, numb out, etc. It could be fawn response, or like people pleasing response. I could go on. There could be many different root issues of that fear of being seen. So then it's about working on the root thing as the starting point, because it kind of creates a domino effect. Working on the root thing, and then the last piece, the embodiment, the integration, is the nervous system regulation around feeling safe to then be seen, feeling safe to actually hold that energy of being seen, and your body not going into any kind of stress response or freeze or fawn response by any means. So they're like those, what did I say, 3 steps to actually fully eliminating that being seen issue in regards to seeing yourself, but also in regards to allowing other people to see you. And then as a result of healing that, you will find that things are easier in love, things are easier in your relationships, platonic and romantic, things are easier in regards to receiving manifestations, holding manifestations, etc. And things are easier in your business, your health, all the fucking areas of life. So what a juicy episode. I love that I had no notes for this at all. I just was like, I did a little Instagram story before this. I'm like, I didn't have time after LA. We only just got back yesterday. I didn't have time to sit down and write kind of an outline or any kind of notes of like, okay, touch on these things. But I just felt like you guys needed this episode. So I trusted it and I jumped on here, and I really hope that you guys love today's episode. A couple little things that I want to let you guys know about. So firstly, immersion tickets are out. We have limited spaces as usual, as always. There is only so many women that I can safely hold in a room, and I will never go over that capacity for ethical reasons for you guys. So if you haven't yet booked your ticket for the immersion, take my advice on the white, gray, and black area today and do the damn thing, and you are going to be so safe to be seen in this space. I promise, I promise, I promise. So Number one, please make sure that you do that. The $500 off that's happening right now is only available until the end of November. After that, if there's any tickets left, it will be up to full price. Okay, that's first thing. The next thing is we obviously have this free masterclass happening right now. You guys can get the replay of that if you want to get to that. Get that. Next thing is for any of the men or ladies that want to share this with your men, my program, The Man, is reopened. It's been refreshed, revamped. Took me a whole second, but anyway, we're there. So you guys can check that out. There's two options. So there is kind of a VIP, more one-on-one option, and then there is the regular option, two different price points as well. So I can help the maximum amount of men. What else? And then there are all the freebies on the website. Lots of freebies. There's many exciting things coming up. Please make sure that you're on the emails because in November, I'm just going to give you a fucking nudge right now. In November, you want to make sure that you are on my emails and that you are checking your emails so you do not miss out on anything. I'm just going to leave that little mystery hint at that for something fun, vibey, abundant, like crazy. And I hope that you guys all have a lovely rest of your week. I'm so excited for all of you that have already bought your tickets. I cannot wait to meet you. New York, Paris. I mean, what a fucking vibe. What a vibe. Like two beautiful locations, springtime, summertime. Oh, it's so good. All right. I will see you guys in the next episode. Have a lovely rest of your week. And please leave a written review if you haven't already.